BodyBags, where horror lies.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you. I'm your regular evening host here, Wednesday evening host here at BodyBags. It is week 398. We are in the second week of this month of April, which means this is the week rather than Label Week. This is the week we pick a film, all of us, from a particular year. In this week, it is 1996. If you already didn't guess that. And the film I was fortunate enough to grab, it has never been reviewed before, and I'm pretty sure this entire week, every film, pretty sure has never been reviewed before on BodyBags. But I was fortunate enough to grab Wes Craven's meta-horror classic, Scream from 1996. What a freaking phenomenal, game-changing film this was. It really helped revamp the horror as it was in the early 90s coming up to 96. It brought in a slew of a whole ton of other movies, some not so great, some pretty fun. I mean, I Know What You Did Last Summer in those movies, and a lot of wannabes to film. And of course, Scream would go on to give birth to two more sequels or as an original trilogy, and then we all know part 4 would come, which was supposed to be part of another trilogy but never materialized. So what we're sort of left with is a part 4 that sort of hangs out there, and of course a TV show, right? But Scream, I just, instead of really getting bogged down into the story of the film, I'll touch on it. I really want to share, though, this film, as I said, was a game changer in the mid-90s in the films that would come after. But it was also a game changer in my life. I was only about 2 years removed from the Army. I'm married. I have my little girl, my first child, and we're out of the Army. We're back home in Western New York, and we decide to go to a drive-in, and yeah, remember those. A drive-in to see Volcano, that Tommy Lee Jones epic disaster flick. The better film is Dante's Peak, but anyways. But we wanted to go as a family, we wanted to go see Volcano. Scream was opening up as well, and I don't know, I might have been, I can't remember really exactly, but it just seems like I really wasn't into horror the way I am now. I think I was just sort of a few steps back from where I had been before. But when Scream came, now it's so funny because we didn't even attempt to see. I mean, the reason for us going to drive-in was to see Volcano. It was not to see Scream. I really had no idea what this film was going to be, what it was going to bring, and our plan was watch Volcano, and then we were just going to leave without seeing Scream. And I have my little girl with me. She is real little. And but wouldn't you know it? So, us kids, we're getting ready. I just assume, right? Because, I mean, I've been at drive-ins my whole life. Family film comes on first, and then the horror film or the the film for parents comes on. And all of a sudden, man, my little girl's out on the playground playing, and with other kids and everything. And all of a sudden, Dimension. And I'm just like, what? You gotta be kidding me, they're playing Scream first? I'm like, crap, and we're just like trying to figure out what to do. I call my daughter back, and we decide, you know what, we'll just watch it, but I asked my little girl if she could just, rack out for the time being. We wake her up to watch Volcano. And she did. She was like asleep in five minutes. And then, so we watched Scream. Begrudgingly, we really didn't want to watch it. We weren't there for that. And I'm going to tell you, man, it was a game changer, man. It was one of those rare horror films that me and my wife, we fell in love with. By the time you get to the final climactic, final act of the film and it unfolds, man, I mean, this was one of the best horror film experiences my wife and I have ever shared together, and it was at a drive-in. And then, of course, little did we know when the trailer dropped for Scream 2, we realized this was heading towards a trilogy. We went to the theater to see Scream 2 together, had a blast, and then, of course, we're all waiting for, the finality of this trilogy to close, and Scream 3 drops, and of course we saw it opening weekend together, and this really just became not just a phenomenon outside to everyone else, but it really was special to me and my wife, and we shared, okay, this together, which is really awesome because I do not share all of my horror with her. She just is not into it. But this was something we could share together. And it really was accidental. It's so funny. It's hilarious. And so it's been with us ever since. So it was a game changer, and from that point, I really started to fall back into horror again, albeit a little bit slowly. I remember going to see I Know What You Did Last Summer at the theater, and I was rejuvenated. Scream rejuvenated me. And of course, we know where we're at today, right? And a huge level of appreciation just for the genre and what Wes Craven not just did for the genre, but what he did for me personally by just rejuvenating my own love for the genre through this film. Anyways, basically, I know everyone's seen this movie, or at least everyone has or should have seen this movie. I'll just, right off the top, I didn't realize looking at some of the things involving this movie, the cinematographer, Mark Irwin, was a huge Cronenberg guy, shot a lot of his movies like The Brood, Scanners, right? And our composer, Marco Beltrami, I think that's how you say his name. Anyways, our composer was a big Guillermo del Toro guy. I'm just not speaking good today. Anyways, he shot things like Mimic and Hellboy, Blade, whatnot. And so, and then our editor, Patrick Lussier, which I could not wait to mention his name, he would, of course, go on to direct My Bloody Valentine remake. And, of course, he, in partnership with another guy, I can't remember his name right now, they actually wrote the script for what would have been, should have been, could have been the third piece of Rob Zombie's universe in his Halloween films. And it was basically going to try to give us the best of both worlds. It was going to basically give us, the old Halloween feel again, but use the core of Zombie's characters and really try to bring fans the best of both worlds. Kind of like what they're trying to do now. That's just my take. And so I was stoked, man. But when it fell through, it just didn't happen, man. It just didn't happen. And I hated it. I'm not the biggest fan of 28. Anyways, listen, I regress or whatever. Scream. So anyways, game changer. So interesting. And the special effects guy, of course, one of them, Mark Byers, he worked with Rob Zombie. I knew there was a segue there. Worked with Wayne Toth on his Halloween films, which is pretty cool. But it is a game changer, and it was for the genre. Of course, it played up on Psycho a little bit about in terms of how the movie opens. Really, you just got a group of kids that are being attacked by a killer. And it's the other thing about Scream. It's like in the trilogy, I think one of the reasons why my wife and I fell in love with it is this is maybe the closest we've ever come to getting sort of an adult version of Scooby-Doo. It just has that weird, unique vibe. It's so much freaking fun. All of the movies, I think, really, but the first one especially. What character is there not to like? I mean, I love every freaking character in this freaking movie, and pretty much throughout the whole trilogy. It's not, like a lot of those horror movies where there's at least one or two, or maybe most of the characters you just hate and can't wait to get off. You don't want any of these characters to die. That's the freaking beauty of this movie. You don't want anyone to die, and if they do die, then it's freaking traumatic. I mean, and that's the way horror films ought to be. We ought to want to love our characters. Don't mind that. My boy's right in the middle of gaming. I don't even have the movie to show you. I've got the DVD trilogy box that was issued years ago. Still living in the DVD era as far as the release that I have of the trilogy. I think I got part 4 on blue. Pretty sure I got that on blue. But really, this killer is just running amok in this little town of Woodsboro. And the great thing about this trilogy is it is like Scooby-Doo in a way. It is a mystery. It is it's sort of got giallo wrapped up in a little bit. It's a fun movie, man. It's just fun. I mean, it's rare when you can have just so much stinking fun with a horror movie. And even though the final act loses some of its punch over time, it's no less fun to watch. I mean, we just watched it last night on HBO Max because all my stuff, of course, is boxed. And I just haven't watched it in a while, and I just had so much stinking fun just revisiting it. It's one of those movies I don't think it ever loses its steam in terms of watching. And so really the story that begins to unfold in really, if you want to call the trilogy, Act 1, Film 1, will continue to unfold across 2 more films, wrapping itself up quite neatly, I think. I absolutely dig the third piece. I think the second piece might be the best film. Maybe. I don't know, man. I love the whole stinking trilogy, but I do love how they tie things up in the end with the trilogy, with the third piece. I so love the soundtrack, the composition, the music they integrate in, Wes Craven's rip, right? Wes Craven's, I don't know, man. How do you go from Last House on the Left, and of course, as a kid at 14, I enjoyed watching A Nightmare on Elm Street in the theater back in '84, and then you just give us maybe one of the most fun trilogies that we've ever had. It's just stinking fun, and it is meta. It does look back and self-reflect upon itself and who it is, and it does this with a cinematographer and a composer and probably special effects guys who also worked in the genre going back a ways, which is pretty cool. It is a phenomenon. It is a game changer. It's a freaking blast. It's maybe the brightest shining moment in 1996 of any film that came out in 96. Like I said, it rejuvenated an entire industry, myself, my life in horror as it is. It is a game changer. I freaking love this movie. I will always love this movie. I love the trilogy. I will always love the trilogy. It is, man. It's Scooby-Doo-like. It's just awesome. It's just freaking awesome. And I'm sorry for not really tapping into the story anymore, but it's one of those movies, if anyone out there has never seen this, you have really, to the best you can, go in this cold feet without knowing much about it. The characters are awesome. The writing is freaking beautiful. The writing is absolutely beautiful in this movie. Just everything seemed, it's lightning in a jar. Everything just seemed to line up perfectly at the right moment for Wes and for those who were part of this absolutely incredible moment that we know is Scream. And it is beautiful. It is a beautiful thing. And, I'm going to leave it at that. We got packing finished up. We got moving. We got closing tomorrow. I'm doing this review really way earlier than I normally do. But just so much to do. But I wanted to get this out of the way and so I could drop it next week. And so continue to celebrate with us in the year 1996. If it's been a while since you visited Scream, go back, revisit that, and just have fun as we look at 1996. As always, we end these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not a dream.